Bizarre Brain Comics. Hello. Gary here for Bizarre Brain Comics. And since we just had Independence Day, it seemed appropriate to have a program talking about Captain America. In this case, it's from 1976, Marvel Treasury Special, Captain America's Bicentennial Battles. Yes, in this tabloid size. It's rather thick. This was written, drawn, and edited by Jack freaking Kirby. And you ain't no kind of comic book fan if you don't know who Jack Kirby is. But we're going to talk about him a little bit anyway. Okay. Go to the big book of knowledge. Marvel Treasury Special. Captain America's Bicentennial Battles by Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby from 1917 to 1994. He's been gone almost 30 years now. It's hard to believe. Love Jack's work. Okay, he was born Jacob Kertzberg. Still has the JK thing going there. He was a Jewish boy and a native of New York City. He traced characters from newspaper strips to learn how to draw as a child. He entered the comics field in the 30s using a variety of pen names, even into the 50s he used a variety of pen names. But he settled on Jack Kirby permanently, and I think he may have legally changed his name to Kirby. I don't know, because he's not really a Kirby, because Kirby's a nice Celtic name, and he's not Celtic. He was with writer Joe Simon. I can't talk. With writer Joe Simon, he created Captain America in 1940 for Timely, which is later Marvel, and together they created several other characters for Timely and National Comics DC. He served in the Army in World War II, didn't they all? But he was one of the few that was actually in combat from the comics field. He served in the Army in World War II. There he was a scout, from what I understand. He was a scout, and he used his art talents to draw the towns, etc., as intelligence for his commanding officers. After the war, he worked for DC and Harvey Comics and other publishers. He and Simon created the romance genre of comics. Yeah, somewhere I've got a reprint of a lot of his romance comics from the late 40s, early 50s. In the 50s, he went to Atlas, which later became Marvel, and he did westerns, monster titles, and science fiction. And all this time, he was still working for many of the other publishers too. Throughout the 60s, he and Stan Lee co-created most of the Marvel characters. After a falling out with Stan, he moved over to DC for a few years, where he created a host of characters for them, including the greatest of the villains, Darkseid, who is part of the New Gods saga. He also created Commandy, the Last Boy on Earth, did a version of The Losers, which is a war book, OMAC, One Man Army Corps, and while working on many others. A lot of the titles that he worked on for DC at that time, all were all part of his Fourth World, the New Gods, like Mr. Miracle and yeah, yeah. And eventually he did a lot of work for both companies, just back and forth, basically freelance. Uh, and in the later '80s, he created new universes for other companies. I can't remember the name of either the publisher, but he did created a whole cast of characters that had miniseries for each of the characters. And for animation studios, he created characters for animation studios, such as Thundar the Barbarian. You might remember that one. Kirby's work is known for his highly stylized look of his characters, their bulky and well-muscled features, bizarre-looking technology and visual effects. He even did experimented with collage, as well as the fast-paced and dynamic action sequences. And he will always be known as the King of Comics. True enough. I don't think there's any comic creator who has had a greater influence, and as a broader body of work than Jack Kirby. Not even Will Eisner or Stan Lee. Although Stan Lee would probably be a good close second. Okay. Captain America's Bicentennial Battles from 1976. Yeah, remember the Bicentennial? I know most of you don't. Here, we'll take a look at it. Yeah, there it is. Bicentennial Battles. This is big and covers a lot of territory, so I want to do it. Go through it fairly quickly. Look at that cover. Typical Kirby cover, and see Cap just displays power. He's coming straight at you with the collage of images here throughout American history. Now, Bicentennial. Do you remember the Bicentennial? That's probably long before most of you were born. 45 years ago. I remember it. I was about 15 or so. And I remember seeing on TV when they had, it was like a parade of ships, I think, through New York Harbor and past the Statue of Liberty. A lot of sailing ships, as well as boats. They had fireboats with their streams of water gouting off the sides of the ship, and then they had the big fireworks display. I saw some of that on television. Okay, now here we go. History is people. It is people that shape the image of a nation, the years and events that fill the record of the past are only a pale reflection of the motives which moved Americans from our early rustic beginnings to the nervous present to make our bicentennial canvas a mural of awesome power. In this treasury special, who but Captain America is qualified to ride the range of 2 centuries in search of those who lived, those who are here, and Americans yet to come. He will make the journey, but not without the help of Mr. Buddha. Okay, Cap has come to this location. He was summoned by this character named Mr. Buddha here in this little cabinet, box, cage, whatever you want to call it, booth, and there's a great Cap figure. Now, this first part was inked. And you'll see it's just beautifully, beautifully inked by Barry Smith. Then he was just going by Barry Smith. Then it was Barry Windsor Smith, British, and it's creates some of the best, covers some of the best Kirby art I think I have ever seen. Just the way he inked it, it kind of smoothed Kirby's rough edges a bit, and it's just beautifully inked, and it's quite recognizable as Barry Smith's work. Okay, then you saw the little guy in this booth here. Nothing going on. Then this ghostly figure comes through the wall. This is a guy who looks like he should be more at home with in a Doctor Strange comic. Okay, he gets out of the booth. The ghostly figure pops into the body, and he gets out, and they talk. He pays homage to, being polite to Cap. Cap is not sure what's going on, and talk about history. The doors to eternity fly open. Thus you can view things with a universal eye, such as a symbol of your country. You could view it as you never have before. Destiny and duty wills it. So he's there to learn the truth, basically, about America and American history. But Cap says, I'm not here for that crap. I don't have time for this stuff. So he goes to leave, and whoosh, some kind of mystical portal forms as he passes through the passageway. And here we have the typical and much copied Kirby dots or Kirby crackle. And Cap is in this weird location. It's like a maze, and then he falls through a trapdoor, and boom, here he is in Nazi Germany. What the heck? Now this book had some problems because the paper was kind of off register in some places when it was being cut. So there are parts that have been trimmed off by accident. Like here, part of the dialogue and part of the images are lost in the gutter. So here he is in this Nazi stronghold. He doesn't know how he got there, but sneaking around, he takes one out a Nazi soldier. Comes into this room, sees these soldiers. Slip into this room. They're interrogating somebody. Speak. Wer ist your verdammte Partner? And then we see, they hear him, they turn around, and it's Hitler himself, and they are questioning Bucky Barnes, Cap's old partner from World War II. And Cap's not happy about that. He storms in, but the Red Skull is right there, but Cap's not fooled, and he starts cleaning house, and he even gets to smack Hitler for one more time, because remember, in the 40s, he had numerous cover illustrations in which he's punching Hitler. So he and Bucky get out just as the soldiers come in shooting. They jump out the window, and they're hiding around in the forest. It's beautiful inking work on this tree and on the figures. And they're going through the forest, and then Cap is more or less engulfed by the foliage, and then he's transported again through the Kirby crackle, and he's back with Mr. Buddha. He's not happy about that, and thinks it's all hokum. It's not. Then go and broaden your knowledge. In the process of seeing all, you will see yourself. And they shake hands, but Cap doesn't know that he put a symbol on Cap's glove, which is what transports him through time for the story. Because there's no real villain in this story. It's there he sees it, like right there, American history on parade. No, it's happening again. And here he pops out. Well, New York. He's back in New York. But it's New York of the 1930s. tries to get a cab. He's right along. This is when he discovers the thing on his palm, and then it suddenly the cab disappears, and it's a coach. And where is he? Here where the anchor changed. This is, I think, Trimpe or Trimpe, however you pronounce his name. This is a nice, real nice. He's able to do, as well as all his dynamism, Kirby was able to do very well, very detailed backgrounds and crowd scenes. Look at all the people here. The backgrounds is the cityscape, which is completely different from the cityscape that we had seen here for modern 30s New York, or modern New York. Okay, so everyone's aghast. See, this is colonial times. You can tell by their dress this is colonial times, and they're all flabbergasted by Cap's appearance. And this boy takes him to Ben Franklin's print shop, and they talk a little bit, give him something to eat, and then they bring in, what's her name? Betsy Ross, and they're inspired to design the first American flag based on Cap's costume. And of course, Cap's costume is based on the American flag, but he is not happy about that, and he takes off. And then, boom, something was going on. He's transported again. Now it's 1930s New York, in the heart of the Depression. And I don't have time to talk about it, but this paper boy right here is Jack himself. Paper mister? And he's just can't. And this car pulls up, wants paper. They're gangsters, and they don't want to pay the paper boy. Cap's pissed about that. Rips him right out of the car, and they take off. They capture the one guy. The cops are blasting away. Good. Look. You got the dynamism in that figure, and that's just a regular person, a cop. Imagine, and you can see how it is with the superhero figures. And a few people could have gotten away with that. But yeah, look at that figure. And then here Cap discovers the symbol, and it's glowing, and then boom, pretty soon, well, he's in the Old West somewhere. And and he's being confronted by some Apaches. Holy cow. They just think he's another white man. And here we get his dynamic action sequences. They're trying to shoot him. He's just cleaning up. They try to rope him. Catch his foot. Does no good. He still beats the crap out of him. Then he and Geronimo. Yes, that's Geronimo. They talk a little bit, saying how. And they basically become friends. But if they meet again, they'll be enemies. And then the cavalry comes, and the Apaches take off. And Cap tries to stop the cavalry. Oh, here, look at this double page spread. Isn't that beautiful? Very active, dynamic, hard hitting. It'd be hard pressed to get something a shot that dynamic on film. And then Cap is transported again. Here he's in a collapsed mine with a bunch of miners. And they're trapped. And so he tries to force his way through the collapsed area. He breaks through, and he's gone again. And the miners are saved. Then, boom! He's in a World War I fighter plane. Holy cow, he didn't know how he got there. And this German plane is trying to shoot him down. Cap's flying around. He can't get away, and he tries a stunt which crashes the German plane. But his plane winds up crashing into a barrage balloon, or an observation balloon. And then here he is back with Mr. Buddha. Don't know anything about Mr. Buddha. This is supposed to be his first appearance. Whether he's ever used again, I don't know. but it's interesting. The dynamic art. Now, overall, the story, it's kind of like, it's fun reading. It's really fun reading, but it's oh, this is taking me way too long, so I'm going to go through. Here it is, transported again. Must be 1890s. Fighting in the ring, the champion, and then here he is transported again to the South, probably 1840s, and he's helping an escaped slave, and they just beat the crap out of these guys, and then gets on a horse and heads west, and then the horse dumps him, and here he is. Oh, with a bunch of soldiers. What's going on here? They're from Alamogordo. Oh my gosh, yes, this is the test of the atomic bomb blast. Look at that. That's possibly even more dynamic than the actual footage. And then he's gone again. Next we see him popping into the Chicago fire. Look at that. Look at that splash page. Look at that. The dynamism. The speed. You can just see the speed of that fire engine coming through, and the turmoil of the people trying to get to safety, and the buildings are burning and collapsing around them. Saves this guy from a collapsing building. And here we go again. Another great shot of refugees. Now remember, a lot of this kind of stuff, Kirby had seen some of this firsthand during the war. Here's another page, another shot. Someone falls in. Cap tries to save him, and then suddenly he's not in the river anymore. He's in the ocean. He's being attacked by a shark, but some divers save him, and they're in a habitat, submarine habitat, doing research. And boom, he's gone again with Mr. Buddha. They talk. Cap is just not happy. He talks smack to this guy, and then suddenly, boom. Well, he's in the future. He's on the moon. Don't know where the spacesuit came from. He's on the moon, and he's not involved. But even there's witnessing a war going on the moon sometime in the future. Doesn't know who the combatants are, but he presumes that at least one side is America. There they are fighting. Sees the destroyed spaceship. He's really good at doing these spacey type things. Now here is a really wonderful little transition. He's looking through the porthole on that ship to see if there are anyone left alive in that moon buggy. And here you see, this is one nice transition. You see him through the porthole, looking out. Oh, something weird's going on. Something weird's going on. And then you see Cap coming back. Still looks like he's coming through the portal, but he doesn't have the spacesuit on anymore. Where's the portal? And it's not. It's the lens of a movie camera. Yeah. They're making a movie in probably the 40s from the looks of it. And Cap just appears, and they're not happy. He's walking around the studio. You can see everyone in various period pieces making the studios. And hey, he's... The studio execs spot him. Hey, he's great. We'll use him in this production. In this production that's going on. And okay, you just stand here, buddy. And there is roll him, and you got, oh, for crying out loud! Look at this. All these marching band people in uniform. Look at this lady on strings flying overhead, and here. This is the finale of a movie that they're making, and musical. Look at all these ladies in the sailor's uniform. This scene looks like it came right out of the first Captain America movie. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if this was part of the inspiration for that scene. Here's all the soldiers. Stop! Cut it! He's not happy. He's just not happy. And here he is back with Mr. Buddha. I don't understand what's going on. Why are you showing me this? And because you need to learn. And then so take him to his place out in the country someplace with this old man on the porch playing the violin. The Caps likes it. Yeah, this is nice. forget all the razzle dazzle, and then boom, they're back in a ghetto in New York in modern times. Here's a young fella in the ghetto studying. He said, yeah, he's going to try to make something of himself. And here we go again. Here's Cap. There's a bunch of kids here, and they rush up to see Cap. And then they talk about, what they want to do. They could be a superhero. Anybody can be a superhero. You don't even have to be super. Here's a great double-page spread. Cap, surrounded by the kids, said, 200 years of old thoughts in young minds. 200 years of seeing it through. It is the way of a great country and a great people who stand together against the slings and arrows of a threatening tomorrow. And shows a variety of, all races, all, and both sexes here. And so they all hold the promise of the future for America. And that's the end. And Cap understands that. It's not just the history, it's the future. And they are and these kids, who are now would be my age, are the future of America. The ones screwing it up now. And then they had a little section here of pinups. They had a version of, and these were supposed to be have inked by John Romita. Here's a colonial version of Cap, and here's the Red Skull as a red coat. Here's a rootin' tootin' Western Captain America. No gun. He's surrounded, but he's got a shield. He's surrounded. He'll clean things up. And here's Cap of the future. Mighty Marvel was here. Yeah. Cap as an astronaut sometime in the future. The great spacescape that Kirby is so well known for. And I notice even here, Apollo on his shield. Because this was just just after the end of the Apollo program. It's a lot of fun. It's just they had to do something with Captain America for the Bicentennial. They had to. It's not the best written, but it's just fun. Sheer fun. There's no villain. It's just a learning experience for Cap and for the readers. Kirby, not necessarily at his best. Artistically, probably some of his best. This was at the height of his work, his dynamic style, and everyone loves it. He's much copied in more ways than one. You can see some of his experimental page layouts and the sheer dynamism. He's just so known for his great action scenes. The whole thing is very wordy. It takes a long time for a comic book to read. Today would be a graphic novel, and I understand that this year, so it's possibly right now, it is being reissued by Marvel Comics. Whether it's in a trade paperback, a facsimile version of this, or in a hardback version, I do not know. But if you enjoyed this, go to your comic shop and see if you can get a hold of one. It's probably $15, $16, somewhere in that, depending on what format it is. Okay, and that's what I've got. Jack freaking Kirby. Yes. Please share it with your comic book friends. And subscribe. And remember, comics are art.